Hey, it's Andrew here. I'm going to show you today about how we sand this carpet padding off of floors. This is pretty nasty stuff, so let's see what we can do. But first, we gotta put some booties on, but we did not have any booties. So as you'll see, we tried to improvise and did not work too great. You'll see why we're doing this here, because this padding is so dusty, and I had somebody vacuuming while we were filming, so that's why it's not near as dusty when you're doing this. But if you're doing this, it does get really dusty, and a lot of times this will be on the entire floor, so you got to go like basically cross grain with it. But you'll see how we sand this right here at a pretty steep angle. So I actually have a 16 grit paper on here, which is the roughest we use. Sometimes you can use like a 12 grit paper, but that's like extreme, like pine, old painted pine or something. But 16 grit is about the heaviest we use, and it does get dulled pretty quick because there's a lot of times there's staples and stuff that you cannot see in this padding, so you just inadvertently run it over. But as you can see, it does take it off, but you have to go at a pretty good angle and run over those quite a few times. But you'll see through this whole video of how steep of an angle I'm starting with right now. So it kind of looks really sloppy, but I'm just trying to get that initial padding off completely, like clean it off, and then I'll work on straightening my sanding lines. But you'll see how I do that here in a second. So you can start to see the sanding lines there actually on kind of top right up there. And those are pretty deep grooves right now, and that's because the floor is pretty uneven. So the machine's kind of rocking back and forth because it's hitting that carpet padding. So we're just trying to not straighten it out yet, but you can go pretty much as cross as you need to get this stuff off, because it's so like petrified on there. This definitely isn't the worst we've seen, but you'll just float over on some of these jobs. You'll just go over that completely and just have to run over that quite a bit. And it really is a big mess. But this one wasn't all that bad. This floor is white oak, so it sanded off pretty well. And you can see it's clean. It really actually cleaned up really well when it was all said and done. It turned out really beautiful, and the clients were really happy with it. But you can see right there how dusty it was, and it shoots out so much. Um, but yeah, just keep going diagonal like that, and your main goal right now is to get that padding off. You can see that, so I'm gonna probably start straightening up a little bit, and you can actually hit it from an opposite angle. So if I'm doing this angle right here, I can go to the other side and do the opposite angle, and then that will get that floor even flatter. And then we would go at a reduced straighter angle and fade it in. But you'll see that's what we're doing. Hey, while you're watching, hit that subscribe button, and you can see more videos that we're doing. Just kind of showing you what we're doing and a little bit of how we do it. The plastic bags are working so far, but they don't last too much longer beyond this. You can use some of your old belts. Sometimes we'll use old belts on these areas just to get some of that stuff off initially, because it does dull it up so quickly. So you can see it still looks pretty terrible, but you can see where I'm starting to clean up most of the finish, that I'm kind of starting to straighten it out a little bit here and get those lines out, those sanding lines out. So first get that padding off, and then get that wood floor finish off, and then you get your sanding lines out. So this is this is 16 grit, like I said. We'll hit this with 24 grit again and clean up even more of these lines here. And then after that, we'll hit it with a 50 with the same machine, and then we will use our buffer with we'll put some weights on it, on the top. It's like a Epic buffer that runs on 220 electric. We'll run that with initially 60 grit mesh power screen paper, or not paper, but screens. And then after that, probably 80 screens. And then for final cut, we usually do 120 with mesh power on our Epic buffer machine. And that gets it so you're not seeing any swirls on any sanding lines. You're not going to see any of these lines that you can see right now. And this is the roughest it is, which is 16 grit. So we're going to go from 16, which is, this is what it is now, to 120. And then when we buff between coats, we actually buff anywhere, usually about 180 or so. So it's pretty smooth, not compared to like a car or something like that. But I mean, you don't want it too slick because it still is a floor. I'm losing my booties here. After you're done watching this, you can check out some of our other videos. We have one I just put out about how we scrape. So in the corners, how you scrape the corners where you can't get sanding machines. We use that for around radiators, stuff like that. But it's pretty good if you're trying to learn how to do that. If you're trying to learn, if you're working for a company or you're just trying to do the floor yourself. Like something like this, if you try to do this floor yourself and you had rental machines, it would be really horrendous and you would hate yourself because it would take so long to do, because those machines a lot of times are a lot lighter than like this machine right here. And the rentals usually run on like 110 power, which is like a regular plug. This runs on like a 220, which is like what your dryer or like a whole house AC unit would run on. So it's a lot more powerful of a machine. Actually, to do all this wouldn't be all that bad, but it would definitely take you a lot longer to do if you had a rental machine. You can see I'm starting to go the opposite way here on between these rooms. I'm just trying to level it out. A lot of times the framing in the houses right here in these doorways, more so like in Victorians, older houses in 1920ish era, they'll be kind of pushed up right there between the doorways, because if you look in the basement, your main beam is running down that way. So a lot of times your joists are connecting, so they're interwoven right there, and they're not properly connected with their, however they're supposed to be connected, braced. They don't overlap the correct amount and all that stuff. So what will happen is they'll heave up in the middle, and then they'll push that up. They'll push that flooring up, and so we see that a lot. So a lot of times we do go pretty hard right in between there to get that flattened out. You just got to be careful because you can sand too much if the floor is too bad, but usually you can get it straightened out pretty good. But you can see I'm straightening it out right now, especially in this doorway. So when you're coming up the stairs, that goes to the basement right there. You're going to be at a direct line of sight of any like marks or anything, so you always really want to pay attention to the high visible areas, especially, that's where you want to spend the most time. Get a light on that area, from a different angles too. It's good to always look coming up the stairs and look at it, so if there's anything that draws your attention that needs to be sanded, or something that's uneven, or a line that's not out. So I'm just starting this new section again the same way to see if you have to do it. And I'm not going too bad of an angle because I didn't really need to. If it's not coming off for you, you can go at it, like I said, completely across the grain. You can go any direction as long as you straighten those lines out at the very end. That's the most important thing. But go at the minimum amount of angle you can, if possible, because that's the less amount of marks that you need to get out. So we'll hit this pretty good at that angle right there. We're just getting that old finish off. It's pretty dusty, you can see that. It's really dusty right here. But like I said, it's not as bad as it usually is because we've got Robbie vacuuming right there. There he goes. I usually start out with this machine first before I do the edges. It just makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to sand as much really, and I'll show you here in a little bit. I go what we call just sanding the edges. Now you can see on here too, I'm making longer passes. So if you have a bigger room, you just want to go all the way to one area after you did a smaller section, go all the way to the room, and then just come back because you're trying to just fade all that in, all those lines and all that. You don't want an area that's just dipped in one section, especially right there when you look, because you'll come into that room on the left, the entry, and then you'll look directly across that to the kitchen and then another window. So you're going to see if there's any blemishes or there's any marks. You're going to see anything right there. So you want to really concentrate on this main area to make your sandings the best. So when you start out, if you're just starting that back left or right bedroom closet, man, and do your mistakes there. So by the time you get there, here you'll be good. This big machine's a 8-inch belt sanding machine. It has rolls that fit on it that you just loosen the tension and then you can just slide right over. Whereas the other one, you had a whole one roll, like a whole like 50-yard roll or whatever, 50-foot roll, and you would cut it and then loop it on there from that. Now, even though I'm straightening this out here, I usually never want to go completely straight with the grain because of the ripple effect it'll leave, like the chatter mark it'll leave sometimes. So you always want to leave, even when you're fining off, just a tiny little angle of not going completely straight. This shows pretty well how quick the finish comes off versus that padding. Um, it just shows how tough that padding is to get off a little bit. And even at that, this specific padding came off fairly easily. It probably hadn't gotten too wet. These areas are probably just in the most high worn areas. Um, Sometimes if people clean their carpet too much with too much liquid, you'll have this over the entire floor and it will transfer those marks sometimes from the padding, and there are times that will not come out, or else if it does, you'll have to sand to the moon. So you want to make sure this stuff is cleaned up too and vacuumed as you're going. We changed this bag a couple of times. Any of that dust or excess dirt is gonna transfer onto the floor on your onto the floor when you sand over it. It will leave like an area that's kind of bumpy, and then it won't look too well. So make sure it's always sanded, and you always sand between grits as well. So I'm gonna show getting up on this wall here as close as you can get. So if somebody else is edging, you always want to help that guy out and get as close as you can to the wall, because that means that's the less he has to sand. Um, but yeah, just try to get along there. You don't want to drag on there at all. And make sure you don't catch yourself like that water bottle right up there. I almost hit my hand on that. So you want to be careful with stuff like that that will fall in the way. But one of the most important things, if you're running a machine like this, is always to keep that cord out of the line of that big machine. Always keep it completely away and never cross it. Never like swing the cord. So you can see how when I turn the big machine around, you can see how I always will make sure it's completely away and I never will cross it. So when you're switching right there with the cord, see the cord I keep to my right and I fling it out of the way, and then it's out of the way. So it's like completely behind you there. I have that draped over my shoulder. Different guys do it differently. You can have somebody hold the cord. Now this is I'm going to show you that's how we do the edges right there before the edger starts. It helps that guy out, especially stuff like this. This finish was pretty gunky, so it saves a lot of time and energy, so you might as well do it. There's a cord again, always making sure you know where it's at and out of the way. but it is a little bit harder than it looks like when you first start. But you do not want to run that over. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. If this video is helpful, hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment and tell us what you think of it. We have some other videos that we're going to try to show you about putting finish on and scraping different areas of the floor, different methods that we use and that we found out that we've used over the years. So, thank you. Bye-bye now.